Hey everybody, it's Steamboat. Welcome to the latest edition of Gearbox Review. I'm going to stop calling this thing a review at this point. I'm just trying to stay consistent with my playlist. It's going to be more of a first impression. And what I'm going to be taking a look at today is the Kahtoola MicroSpikes. So you might be wondering, it's just like, okay, Steamboat, it's just like, well, why haven't you used these things? So there are a couple of reasons, The reason why I have them, the reason why I haven't used them yet is I did purchase these a number of years ago because I was, planning on doing a long hike and encountering some conditions that I just never really had an opportunity to use these things. And the other day I was out at a local trail, and it's winter here in Colorado, and there's a lot of things that are nice in the sun, but there are some things that hold some ice really late into the season. And so I saw some people coming down the trail, and they were like kind of, they were like, had pretty good footing on the ice, and I saw that they were all wearing spikes, and I was like, oh, that'd be a really good thing. And then it dawned on me, I was just like, oh, you have spikes, dude. Like, why don't you try these things out? And so that's what I'm going to do today. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking these, I'm going to do a first impression, I'm going to take them out to my local trail and just kind of see how they perform. So these are going to be kind of centered around four kind of questions. All right. So it's just like, are these easy to put on? Will they stay on my foot? Are they comfortable to wear, and do they work, right? And so it's just like, what sort of benefits do they kind of add? So before I go, and before I get started, I'm just going to go through some of the out of the box tech specs for these MicroSpikes. So it does come in a box, all right? I got rid of the box. I don't know where the box is, but and they also come in this nice little stuff sack to be able to carry with you. And there's a little spot where you can write your name, So if you just imagine that there's a lot of hikers that are out there, or you're with some sort of trip, just make sure that you label your gear. That's a good idea, just like in any circumstance. Just label your gear, just to make sure that you don't get anything mixed up, because that could be embarrassing. So, right out of the box, you got your two spikes. Just basically like a rubber bit with some chains, right? Just some chains with some spikes. The spikes are 3/8 of an inch, right? So that's 1 centimeter. So they're not as long as maybe a 2-inch crampon. They're more robust than you'll probably see on a little Nano spike. And so it's just all it is. It's just a rubber bit to kind of go around your foot, and then some chains to bite into the ice or the snow or whatever it is that you're walking on to help to give you a little traction. I wear a large. These are large sizes. It weighs 13.1 ounces, which I guess is light. I don't really know, it's just it's pretty light for a metal chain. But 13.1 ounces, that's less than a half a liter of water, if you kind of think about that in comparison. So if you're going to be out there tackling some conditions, if you live in an environment where, there's lingering ice, if there's snow, these sorts of things, I don't normally, stay in places that have winter type conditions. And it's just I don't really even like going out in the wintertime anyway. And that's just the honest truth, It's just I'm not just a fair weather hiker, but it's just I'm kind of turned off by the winter sport. But maybe this can open up some possibilities. So like I said, we're going to head out to the local trail, give these things a test run, and kind of see how they go. So I'm going to roll a little B-roll as I'm setting up there. If you're not into that, you can just kind of click ahead. I timestamp all my videos. If you're liking this video, give it a like. And be sure to subscribe to stay adrift of any upcoming backpacking content and how-tos, trail videos, and things. I'm just a small creator on YouTube, so just that engagement can really help to promote my content. So I do appreciate you. All right. All right, so it looks like we're starting to get into some icy bits. This stuff's not too bad. There's a lot of dirt over the top of it. So usually and I'm still kind of going uphill. So with the dirt on the top, it's, not too bad. Kind of walking up, it's a little bit soft. So I'm not having any trouble slipping around just yet. But I think that once I start going down, then I'm going to need to throw in these spikes. So still making my way. We'll get there. So found that ice that I've been looking for. Just stopped real quick and threw these MicroSpikes onto my feet. So my first question was really, are these easy to put on? So it's just kind of throwing them on. I found that it's easier if you just kind of insert with your toe and then kind of pull it up onto the heel. Just make sure that none of the, chains are crossed and everything's just kind of fit and flush against the shoe with the stretchy upper bit. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna walk this trail. It's about a mile. It's about a mile down. So I'm expecting a lot of ice, and it's all kind of moving gently downhill along this kind of creek. So I'll find out the other questions. Are these comfortable? Do they stay on my foot? And are they helpful? That's I think the biggest thing, right? It's just really adding the value and the comfort to be able to enjoy these places a little more comfortably. So I'm gonna hit the trail, and we'll see how it goes. All right. So this is a nice surprise. So sometimes when you're out on trail, you'll come across trail signs and people like will lose things, and people just like put random objects like onto them hoping that people will come by. But just found like a single nano spike. So this is like what maybe like a nano spike might look like. This is just like the stretchy rubber bit, and then it looks like they've just got like some metal nipples on here, just like some little bits of metal to help give you like a little bit of grip into the terrain that you're kind of going on. So yeah, I wasn't expecting that, but here's an example of a nano spike, you know, so something a little bit smaller, maybe not as robust as the MicroSpikes. So just give you an idea of comparison when it comes to some of these products. It's cool. So you can probably see this. This side behind me is nice and snow-free. This is a south-facing slope. So even in the wintertime, it's still getting enough sunshine to melt off the snow. But on the other side, on the north-facing slope, you can see there's just like a lot of lingering ice and snow. So there's places that you're going to find ice and snow. Okay, it's going to, of course, like be in the shade during snow season, whatever that is, depending on where you live. But then, like, it's what's unique about this little spot right here. It's just like this little creek valley. So there's the creek that's running just like right through here, and so it's just like this really like long running like valley, and it's really beautiful. But in the valley itself, like, it doesn't ever get any direct sunlight. So in deep valleys, things on the north slopes, of course, if you're at altitude, then at altitude it's always going to hold snow and ice like a lot longer, like even into the summer months sometimes, which is going to be like really important, right? So if you found this video because you're thinking about getting these spikes for, you know, like a hike like the PCT, right, getting into the South Sierra, I would recommend that. If you did find this video because you're thinking about hiking the PCT, let me know. Drop a comment. I'd be excited to see who might be out there. It's cool. But so far, this has been pretty good. I haven't had to slow down at all. So far, the MicroSpikes like on my foot are actually really comfortable. I'd say, like, if I had to describe kind of how it feels, I'd say it's kind of like walking on like a really like loose, maybe like a chunky gravel road. You know, where you have like the big pieces of rock that are kind of like moving under your feet a little bit. So that's kind of like what it feels like on the bottom of the foot. You know, so there's like kind of like a sensation on the bottom of the foot, but it's not too bad. And there's like, it makes like a really nice sound as it's like digging into the ice, like a nice crunching sound, which is, I guess, like good for that ASMR. But then it's like also kind of like a sound of reassurance, right? You can actually like hear this piece of gear working as it's digging into the ice, which is pretty cool. And then on the side of the foot too, it's like it's not too like restrictive. These haven't come off my foot just yet, and it's like just walking this ice. But like on the sides of the foot with the stretchy bit, like it's not like squeezing my foot. I don't feel like it's constricting it in any way. So it's just like on, as far as that goes, I don't really feel it like on the sides of the foot. It's just like like I said, just like that sensation like kind of on the bottom of the foot, which is pretty good. And I'd say if there's like maybe a technique to using these, I'm gonna go with you know, just like walk normal. Like, yeah, I feel like I'm just walking normal, and it's just like it's working out pretty well for me. Maybe just like make sure that you're like lifting your foot up just enough to get over like whatever. Like this is just hard pack. This is just like in a really, really icy trail, right? So people walk over this a lot. It gets packed down, just turns into this ice chute. The air temperature probably during the day is enough to melt it off just enough, and then with the freezing temperatures at night, it's like you can see this. It's just like it's polished. This thing's got like a polish to it. It's like a shine on this ice. So far, I think that it's just like, yeah, just like really deliberately just planting your foot, you know, maybe not rocking it too much, but if you're like one of those like a sort of shuffler, this is not going to be good. And then if you kind of like take maybe a normal approach where you're kind of like just on your tiptoes and things, as you're like kind of like trying to just like not slip on the ice, that's probably not going to work either. So just get it on your foot and just walk normal, and I think that's the way to do it. Yeah, I'm so happy. These things are working great. This is cool. Now the conditions are kind of going not so much to that just like long linear ice cube. Now we're just kind of going back to like what you'd kind of assume, right? Just kind of like a soft snow. You know, this snowed a few days ago, I think. And then this is just kind of lingering. So it's just like we got the stuff that's kind of packed down. So it's like not as slippery or as concerning with as the ice, but you know, the spikes are doing just great in the soft snow. Like honestly, those first conditions that I just saw with that ice, I think that's the selling point right there. You know, I'm going downhill like on this like slick ice chute, and I'm just bebopping along. So yeah, I think these spikes are great. And even kind of going down some mixed terrain. So the snow is very variable here. We got some soft snow, we got some ice, we got some like mud, we got some rocks. So the only thing that's kind of awkward, I think, thus far wearing these is kind of just going over the rocks. So that's to be expected. You get these like pointy metal tips against the rocks, you know, may not perform the best. So if you're on the rocks, just take a little extra time, but you know, when you're hitting the ice in between those rocks, these spikes are going to keep you attached. Beautiful day out here. Cool, so I'm still making my way back over to the trailhead, but I think my mind's like pretty much made up about these spikes. Before I give my final thoughts, I'm just going to let you know that just do keep in mind, you know, that these are just designed to add some traction in conditions, I think, such as this, you know, so it's just like some hard pack, some snow, clearly like some ice, you know, it's just like anything that you're going to need a little bit of that additional traction support when you're coming out here. But, you know, just like I got to say, you know, it's just like I came out here about a week ago, and that's like what inspired me to make this video. And I did not have as much fun a week ago as I had today. I can tell you that. And I think that just demonstrates the efficacy, I think, of these spikes. So these aren't going to be for like mountaineering, you know, like any like high altitudes type stuff. Like, don't think you're just going to get some like real inexpensive spikes and just like be able to go and like traverse glaciers and stuff. Like, that's not what this is for. You know, these like aren't ice climbing crampons or anything else like that. You know, it's just like helping, I think, just like when it comes to hiking, backpacking, maybe like ice fishing. I think that could be helpful too. I just know, it's just like, I know what happens when you don't use these traction devices. I was doing a job up in northern Japan where it was really, really snowy, and I ended up falling down on a flight line and spraining my ankle pretty bad. And we weren't using MicroSpikes, we had like just some tracks. I think the tracks were being manufactured by our structural mechanics. I think they were just doing that in-house, but everybody else was wearing them and nobody else got a sprained ankle except for me. Which I think kind of comes into another like point that I want to bring up, is when I fell down, I wasn't wearing my traction devices. And so that's like kind of what I sometimes see. A lot of people will throw gear just into their backpack and just being like, well, you know, I saw that, you know, this gear list had this, or so-and-so is like using this particular thing, so I want to incorporate this too. But maybe like not understanding like how to use it, the best like circumstances, or even it's just like, am I going to take the time to use this at all? So it's just like, I've been out hiking before where I've encountered snow, and it's just like, well, you know, I'm just going to go right through it, and I'm just going to like be a little more careful and everything else. And it's just like, I'm not going to take the time to drop my pack and maybe just like throw on my spikes if I'm just going to be like traversing a snowfield for 100 yards or something like that. So just like really be honest with yourself about, if just because you have something, like, are you going to take the time to use it? Another suggestion, I think, that like when it comes to conditions such as this, is I normally use trekking poles. So trekking poles, like in this environment, I think could be really helpful, just to have that additional balance and stability. And then also if you're going to be carrying heavier loads, you know, it's pretty easy today for me to like be able to walk on the ice and stuff. It's just like there's really nothing in my backpack today. But if I had a full load, you know, it's just like just knowing how that load kind of affects, you know, my balance and you know, just thinking that I'm on this like really slick surface, the poles could be really helpful just to provide that additional balance and stability. So I think that's what I have to say about that. When it comes to my 4 concerns about, you know, are these things going to perform? Number 1, were they easy to put on? Yeah, they were easy to put on. You know, it's pretty intuitive. Just slide your foot right in there. I think that if you're looking to size out and maybe like your sizes are right in between, like maybe size up. So it's just like, are these comfortable? And so like I'm finding right now that I'm wearing a large with a size 12 Merrell like shoe, and it's not too constrictive, but I think that if I was trying to squeeze a medium on that, I would feel that constriction like on the top of my foot, and that probably wouldn't be as comfortable. So, you know, just like just as a suggestion, you might want to consider like sizing up if you're not able to try them on like in person. So they stayed on my foot. Like, these haven't come off or anything. They're like really snug. They feel really good. Just kind of what I'm doing out here, kind of wandering around and things like that. If I was like up in some powder, if I was trying to hop in between sun cups and stuff, like, I don't know, but the impression that I get is that they're going to stay on my foot, you know? So it's just like easy to put on, they're comfortable, they're staying on my foot, and do they actually work? Well, like I just said, you know, it's just like I was out here a week ago and I'm having way more fun today. And I think it's because of these spikes, you know? So there you go. hopefully you're able to get some insight into what these MicroSpikes are all about. You know, you don't got to buy the Kahtoolas. You know, it's like I'm not invested in Kahtoola, just like anything that, you know, you have your traction, but these just seem to be the ones that are most popular that I see most hikers using and out on trail. So stay safe, enjoy the hiking out there. Much love. Stay drip, y'all.